got Tina with me, Vanessa and Zoe, and we're just going to talk about all things finance. Talking about how you can manage your money, how you can learn to get out of debt, and how to save, and how to just cultivate a healthy relationship with finance and money. So Vanessa is going to talk to us about her journey and everything around that.
Yeah, hi.
Hi guys.
So I guess my journey, or just kind of to give everyone like a background of what was going on. So just like got out of uni, getting into debt, and my husband and I were in over £25,000 worth of debt. But like between us, not separately, between us. And we were at a stage where like we had just got married. We were saving for a house and trying to pay off debt at the same time. And it was just getting like impossible. It was getting really hard. I was like crying about it, looking at the finances like every month. I don't know if you guys do like your budget each month, like how much can I spend and what can I do? And it was just like hundreds was going out to for paying off debt. That I was like, oh my gosh, that is like a significant amount of money that I could be using to like get me a home. That's what we've been saving for, and yet I'm saving like a few £100s every month towards this home, but actually I'm in debt, so that's money that's not really mine. And I guess also at that time, like I was dealing with my debt and my husband was dealing with his debt, and we hadn't come together. So I knew he was in debt, he knew I was in debt, but we were just kind of working a bit siloed in it whilst trying to save for this house as well. So yeah, there was just, I guess, a light bulb moment happened at one point. And there was something about like it causing us, or causing me in particular, I can't really speak for him, but it's causing me so much stress to think about that I was like, I need to find a way of getting out of this.
So what was the first step then to you moving into that, becoming debt free?
Yeah, so I remember sitting in my kitchen, like doing my finances, working everything out, and trying to work out like how much we would be able to save for a house. And then something had clicked to me, like you need to put all your debt together, or you need to find a way of like paying off your debt by putting it together. So I looked online and like, I just literally typed into Google like how to pay off debt or something like that, and this person came up. His name is Dave Ramsey, and if you put him into Instagram, oh my gosh, honestly, it will change your life. The things that he has a website as well, but he has an Instagram. He gives out free information. There's information that you can pay for as well if you want to go really deep into it. But he talks about something called full financial freedom, and talking about paying off all of your debts, including like a mortgage, including like your uni bills, everything to be completely financially free. So I looked at his like method. And he has something called like 7 baby steps is what he's calling it. And he was talking about like bringing all your debt together and then working out like putting it into order from smallest to largest and then starting to pay it off that way. And so as I was like just looking into it a bit deeper, I was like, okay, if I do this and actually do it jointly with Jermaine, I wonder if we could both get our debts out of the way and then be able to save for this house. But so I kind of like had to come to Jermaine with a plan, because I couldn't be like, we're gonna follow Dave Ramsey and we're gonna do what he says. And I'm like, what on earth are you talking about? So I needed to really think it through in my head. I needed him to be honest with me about how much debt he was in. What the monthly payments were as well, how often and how much they come out, because depending on all of that and the interest rates of those loans depends on how like quickly they can get paid off. So that was like my first step, figuring out where my debts were exactly, how much I was paying a month, and looking at Jermaine's as well and kind of working together.
And how much information was out there to support and help you kind of like get that plan together, and how easy was it to access? I guess for someone who doesn't really have a lot of people around them who can advise financially, how easy is it to get that information?
Yeah, and also like Okay, so to answer that question, how easy? For me personally, I thought it was very easy. I literally typed it into Google and I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what was going to come out of there. Dave Ramsey was the first name that came up on the Google search, and then I just put him into Instagram just to see if he had an Insta, and he's got so much information on there. And then from him, I found a lady called Rachel Cruz. Again, talks about full financial freedom and some hints and tips about taking out credit cards and what it actually means for your credit history. And they are American, so they have a lot of things that are more for America than England, but the theory works exactly the same.
Yeah.
Money is money and debt is debt, regardless. So it still works out the same. And talking, and they talk about like 0% credit cards to try to help to pay off some of that debt as well. So yeah, I feel like that's where the information, if you are looking for it, for me was quite easy to get, but also easy to understand.
Yeah.
It's really simple to understand. So maybe I should tell you about the baby steps. What they are.
Yeah.
So the first baby step is to save up £1,000. And that £1,000 is going to be your buffer if something goes wrong or you need to pay for something. You don't go into a credit card or ask to borrow any money. You will use that £1,000. Yeah. So you save that first. Then, depending on how much you're earning or how much you can save, it may take people different amounts of time to do that. Once you get your £1,000, you then put into order what your debts are. So from smallest all the way to largest. You then start working on, so all of the debt, you make the minimum payments. Never, ever, ever miss a payment. That does detrimental. You get charged, but it's also detrimental to your credit history when you want to take out any more like loans or get a house or anything else. They look at things like that. So just be really mindful. Always make the minimum payment for all of those loans. But that smallest one, you make the minimum payment and any other money you might be able to save that much. So say, for example, each month you're able to save £100 a month. You would make the minimum payment, let's say the minimum payment is £50, you would make £50 plus put in that £100. Don't bother have savings. Don't bother put into savings, and don't bother try to have savings on top of the debt. That saving is not yours if you owe money.
I feel like that's what I've been doing.
That saving is not yours if you owe money. So me and my husband went for a house. I went to try and get a mortgage in principle, and at that point we were again in that £25,000 in debt. And they said, we would give you right now £175,000. That's how much we'll give you. That's nothing. You can't get anything.
In London, definitely.
Even outside the M25, it's really difficult. You can't get anything. They were like, you guys have savings right now. And I think at that point it was at £5,000. Something like that. It was at 5,000. They were like, that money isn't yours. If you put that £5,000 into one of those debts, that's one debt gone. You need to work on the rest of that. And so it was a hard pill to swallow. So I was like, that £1,000 had come from the wedding, people had given it to us, it was some of our savings, like I thought we had money. So hard pill to swallow to then turn around and say, okay, we're gonna put that towards the debt. But you've got to come to terms that you've put yourself into this situation. Regardless of why, what, where, how, doesn't matter. You've put yourself into this situation and you've just got to come to terms with that, forgive yourself for it, and then be able to move on. There was something really amazing once I found Dave Ramsey and started working on this, that actually this was a form of self-care for me, because going on holiday or taking your flexi time at work or having a nice bath, that's all well and good, but you are suppressing something that might be coming out in your sleep or getting agitated and you can't think why, or you get paid on the Monday and it's gone by the Tuesday, it's gone before even that.
As soon as it hits the account,
That's the truth. But actually that's why
your debt is like where payday was yesterday. What happened?
But it's so weird because you might have birthdays to think, or your girlfriends might say, let's go out, and you're just thinking, oh gosh, how am I going to pay for that? And I can't tell them like, oh, I haven't really got the money, so I'll just put it on the credit card and I'll think about it next month. Next month will come and they will take that money out. So when we went to go and get the mortgage in principle, and they were like, that's not your money, no matter how much you want it to be.
Yeah.
It's not. It's ours. You owe us
Yeah.
more than £5,000. But that is so. That's how they see it when you're trying to get things like a mortgage and stuff. And how much do you owe? How much have you saved? And then they decide how much we can give depending on that. So you pay the minimum payment of all of your debt. The smallest one you'll put everything into. If you do have savings, I would suggest swallow the pill and put that saving into the smallest debt. Yeah? So if your smallest debt is £2,000 and you have a saving of £1,000, for example, you can put that 1,000 into there, and then you've only got £1,000 left to pay. It sounds a lot, but actually when you see that go on your bank statement or whatever, it feels so good. You will see the interest go down as well. When we started to pay off our debts, letters started coming in from the banks, saying to us, you've paid off more on your debt. If you continue at this rate, you will actually pay off in 6 months' time rather than a year's time. That felt amazing to see that. They then started offering us more loans, and we were like, let's write it up. No, but that was such an amazing feeling to be like, okay, we're on a roll, and there's something around like reward and recognition, like goals. If you've got a goal and you start to see that go down on the bank statement, that feels really good. Once you're finished with the smallest debt, you move on to the second smallest debt. You now make the minimum payment of that smallest debt. The minimum payment of the debt previous that you've just paid off, you put onto that new one as well. And then any savings again. So if you were able to save £100, you put on top of that. And then so all of a sudden, that debt where you may have only been able to put £40 a month, you may be able to put like £150 a month. That's a significant difference. Will make a significant difference on your interest. And you keep doing that until you get to the biggest one. But because you were spending all that time paying the monthly payments already, that one would have gone down already. And then by that point, you would have a lot of money at your disposal that you can just get rid of that biggest one. That's the hardest one, the longest one, but the one that if you just keep at it, it will feel like, oh my gosh, you've accomplished. And then you will have literally, it depends how much debt you're in, but you potentially have maybe hundreds, maybe thousands of pounds left for you at the end of the month.
I guess like what helped you to stay resilient in that situation?
Oh
Because it must be quite tough, like having to keep at it.
And the sacrifices you had to make as
Yeah.
well.
Absolutely, So I guess telling Jermaine and being honest with him and working with him was the biggest thing and the best thing that I could have done, because then once I got him on board, which only took like half an hour once I explained it to him, he was like, yep, let's do it, well, we then was able to bounce off each other. That was really good. We're both very visual people, so I have a vision board at home, and I put on the vision board like my name, his name, the debt that we were working on, and then each month I would just put in a total of, well, Vanessa's paid this much, Jermaine's paid this much, now this is how much is left. And so we could literally see it going down. We didn't have to like look on online banking, because some of it was on my banking, some of it was his. He can't see my bank account and I can't see his. So having it visually, we could literally see, oh, it's going down, and then we'll be like, okay, next month. And I also put it into, I estimated how long it was going to take. So I estimated it would take us 12 months to pay it off. So each month we were getting by. It was literally, okay, we're 1 month closer to being completely debt free on that. So being able to see it, I guess. I told my friends and my family what we were doing as well, because then when we were being invited to things or dinners, I would say, guys, because you know we're paying off our debts, actually, we'll pay our bill. You know, sometimes like you go out and be like, oh, let's just split the bill between us all. And actually, I've got a budget, so that might be a bit over what I had agreed to pay. So guys, if it's all right, I'm just going to pay for my part, and then you guys do whatever you want with the rest of the bill. Maybe a hard conversation to have, but if you've got true friends and real friends, they'll really understand and they'll help you. Again, going out with the girls, maybe not a fancy dinner at Hawksmoor or a sushi samba, but sometimes a hot chocolate in Starbucks was our way, or just meet up at each other's house or something like that. Was our way forward. And I guess for me, it's just about thinking about the future and just saying, okay, this is going to be for our house. We're going to be able to save up, and just keeping that as like my momentum. Like, what is it that I'm trying to achieve exactly? Maybe putting that up on a board as well. So every morning when you wake up, that's what you're seeing, and you know, today I'm going to work and it is going to push me towards my goal, paying off my debt, getting my home, getting my first car, whatever it is that you want to work on. That's yours.
So how hard was it to like remain strict with it? Because I know, like, for me, sometimes I'm like, you know what, I'm just gonna make the minimum payment and then I can just enjoy the rest of my life. You know, as long as I'm making the minimum payment, but obviously that's just dragging the debt a little bit longer.
Yeah.
So how hard was it to just remain focused, and did you have any moments where you kind of like slipped and
so some months I went over, definitely, and I was just like, whatever, it's my birthday. So yeah, my birthday was one. I bought my first designer handbag. Dave Ramsey would have said don't do that, but I did. But I had saved for that money, but actually I saved via using the money that should have gone to the debt on top of the debt, on top of the minimum payment. I was like, but I was clear. I said to Jermaine, look, I want to treat myself on my birthday. I wanted to bungee jump, skydive, and I wanted to buy this £700 Prada bag. And I said to him, look, this month I would like to take some of my part of what I put in for my birthday. Are you okay with that? He was fine with it. He continued to put his side in. So I think it was about being really clear, lines of communication with him about what I was doing. That meant that actually we're going to be behind a little bit on the forecast of when we were going to pay this off. Are you still comfortable with that? Rather than me doing it behind his back and him like, wait, I thought it was June and meant to be paying off. Why are we still in July and August and like keeping slim about it? But just wanted to enjoy that. I had also last year planned in some like away time for us. So it was just really little things. Like we went to Southwold for the day. I knew that we just needed to put petrol in the car. I put petrol in the car every month anyway. We went to Milton Keynes, which is where my parents live. We stayed there overnight and we done some go-karting. I found some vouchers in a newspaper. So just things like that. I planned every other month, something fun to do, because I knew that we weren't going to be able to go out and do the cinema and the dates and see the girlfriends as often. But actually, if we had something to look forward to, it didn't feel like all of our money was just always going to debt. But actually, that money was coming from what we were getting from our wages monthly. So it had to be small things, but it was just things that we could enjoy, and still be able to enjoy life whilst paying off the debt. So try and have something in place that is like fun.
Because I know if it's like constantly paying out, I don't know if I can get to it. Because I'm going to be like, every other month I'll be like, oh, I haven't paid today because I've spent it on something else.
You do have to be strict with yourself. You do have to ask yourself, like, am I sure? Do I need this or do I want it? Will it still be here in a year's time once my debt is paid off? Honestly, if you say to yourself, this is how long I predict it's going to take me, I think that would be easier. Whereas then, like, oh, I'm just going to start paying off my debt and I have no idea when it's going to go. Then why would I keep on going? It just feels like I could be doing this for years. But
it's like you said, you have to see it as a self-care thing, isn't it?
That's it.
And I feel like as well, in a day and age of social media, Instagram, everyone's wanting to live this type of lifestyle that they can't afford. That's why they're getting into debt, especially if it's Christmas and depending on how large your family is. Right, let me go and take out a loan so I can get this, I can get that. Let me spoil myself with this. I feel you do have to exercise some sort of control and not see it as I'm punishing myself or I'm. Do you know what I mean? Like Vanessa said, have something little to look forward to. If it is just a little hot chocolate at Starbucks.
Exactly. You are looking after yourself, and honestly, the feeling will be great, and only you will know that. You know.
I can imagine
Yeah, only you will know that, and people will see a difference in you. Even when I put it up on social media in the end about what we've done, so many people private messaged me, was like, how did you do that? What did you do? That means that it's a stress that people go through, but no one talks about it because it's not allowed to talk about, or you feel shame. Oh, I got out a credit card. Oh, I got out a £10,000 loan. Yeah, that's what I done, and I spent it on handbags and a car and perfume, and I can't even and holidays, and I can't even show you much of it. Yes, I did. I made that mistake, but we make that mistake because it's so easy for us to do.
And I think because we don't really have a discussion around how to manage money, and I think the first point for me definitely was going to uni. Because obviously prior to that, you're at home with your parents, and you go to uni, and all of a sudden you've got a credit card and then an overdraft, and then you're just supposed to just get on with it and know how to manage all this money. And then you're like, wow, I've got £2,000, let me go and buy a car. And then obviously, because nobody's really talking to us about how to manage money, then it can just be easy.
And you don't have to like ask your parents' permission.
You can just
once you get to uni, they're like, you decide if you want. You're like, okay.
I remember as soon as I turned 18, the first thing that come through a post, you can now apply for a credit card. Like, I didn't ask that. It just like you know, posted in my letterbox, and I was like, yeah, right then, why not? I built my credit rating because I think that's the way of doing it.
So I wanted to go into that as well.
About credit rating.
Then with that, you need to get credit cards, overdrafts to help you build your credit.
Yeah, so Dave Ramsey talks about this a lot. He goes really into it actually. So it is actually a myth that you need to take out loans and credit cards in order to build. Now, caveat to that. The banks and building societies like to see your monthly statements. Don't get me wrong, they want to see what's coming in and out of the account. But like I've said to you guys, we are just in the process of buying our first home. They haven't once asked to look at our credit cards, and they've only asked to know how much we have to pay, how much we've got left to pay, and how much we pay back a month. But they've asked to see our current account, because then they see what monthly outgoings are. Now, obviously, we do have a footprint now because we have taken out debt. The simple fact that you guys have a current account, which everyone legally has to have anyway, is enough of a footprint to have. Banks don't like it if you don't have if you have like a little footprint, but that's mainly for their benefit because you will then owe them money. You know, if you take out a loan or a credit card, that's money back to them extra because of interest. But actually, if you pay things out in full and in cash using your current account, you'll be absolutely fine. You will still get things because you're able to handle your money well. So I think, yes, that is definitely a myth about take out credit cards and take out loans. You look so shocked.
I was like, oh, you know, it will help improve your credit rating, but yes, it's
if I have my time again, and if I'm blessed to have children, I will tell them only if you feel you are able to handle money well, should you ever take out credit. But never, ever, ever, honestly, even now with buying the house, the sofa is £1,400. We have said we will save for that. They're like, oh no, you could just pay monthly, £50 a month, and it's interest free for the first 3 years. Yeah, that sounds lovely, but I will get comfortable with £50, and then the 3 years will go, and then the interest will come. I would rather just pay out because I know I can save that money, even if it will take me a few months, and just give you the cash. Never in my life am I ever going to take out a payment plan or anything like that. It's not worth my while. But it's also not worth my while because I know how I handle money. I've taught myself that lesson. If you're very good with money, and I've got some friends who are amazing with money and can pay off their credit cards all on time, and it's all well, that's what I know. I don't know the truth, but that's what I see. Then great. But if you have to have an honest conversation with yourself.
It all comes back down to education at the end of the day. I've always said to myself, if anything, so my phone, I buy it outright. So I get a SIM only. Yes, Chloe. We'll get on to you in a minute. It's all about being open and transparent and honest. So anything that I've got in my house, I've bought cash. I don't know, because I feel they are almost setting you up to get you into that kind of debt. Like you said, oh, don't worry, you can pay it off in installments, and then you're thinking, oh yeah, I can just pay just a little bit here and there, and all of a sudden, and the interest rate. So I feel it is beneficial to just pay things outright. That's it. You don't need to worry about it. And then you know it's yours.
Exactly.
Yeah,
You don't know
it's yours.
anyone.
Yeah.
And I guess you don't really know where you're going to be in like 3 years' time. Anything could happen.
Exactly.
Like, God forbid you lose your job or something like that. Anything can actually happen, and then you're just trapped.
And that's not it's not yours. You haven't paid for it. And just like the bank is saying, like that savings that you think you have, if you've got debt, that's not your money. That's what you owe. You know, so you need to get rid of that, completely pay off all your debts, and then.
So in terms of, because I know a hot thing would be for a lot of young people now are wanting to get their foot onto the property ladder, and of course a lot of young people also have student loans. So how does student loans affect you getting a house, mortgage, or whatever, and the whole debt thing?
So in terms of getting a house on your student loan, it doesn't come into play at all. Student loans aren't seen as a loan in terms of like a loan that you would have got if you just went to the bank. However, Dave Ramsey talks about paying off, because debt is debt. Regardless of how people like to dress it up, debt is debt. That still comes out of your, even though you don't see it, it still comes out of your pay slip every month. So regardless, that is that should still be an element that you look to pay off more. I haven't got to that part on his 7-step thing. His 7-step even goes into paying off your mortgage completely, paying off all you need, paying off your car, and then actually starting to give back into the community. It's amazing. Have a read. It's really, really good. And he uses lots of even if you're not a Christian, but he uses lots of like Bible passages to talk about the importance of giving back to others when you have got more than enough, and being grateful for what you have. But he talks about paying off your uni debt, and if you are able to, and if you are focused, try and do that. That is a point that I want to be able to get to pay off my uni debt, even if I just start paying a little bit more extra every month into it. But it is a form of a loan, but it doesn't affect you trying to buy a house.
I think that's good to know, because a lot of people will think that,
that's really interesting, because like I got told not to pay it off. Yeah, because they were like, basically, because I went to uni when it went up to £9,000 a year. There was like, ultimately, it's unlikely that you will ever pay it off, because it clears after 30 years, and it's such a small increment that comes out of like your paycheck each month. So that's a really interesting thing.
I just
different perspectives.
Because
as well, like, I'm now paying interest, like it's going up.
Constantly,
and I'm like, it's just constantly going up.
I mean, but regardless, like debt is debt, and you're gonna need to pay it. 30 years. 30 years is a significant amount of time of paying debt. Where if you were, like, hypothetically speaking, if you were able to pay it off in 10 years, that means you've got a whole 20 years to be living life with that little bit extra. How much could you do with that little bit extra? I think mine is £75 or £85 a month that gets taken out of my paycheck. That's a significant amount that over 20 years, I would, could be extra for savings. £75 a month extra in your savings is a nice bit of money to have. So I understand where they're coming from, but I think that is the mindset that gets people into further debt.
Falling into the trap, right?
I think so. I think so. Honestly, like even Dave Ramsey talks about people. But honestly, I just think he's
very straight to the point.
He doesn't.
Have you watched him?
No, I haven't.
I'll send you the link.
Yeah.
Oh goodness.
He was like, he was saying something about someone was like, oh, should I take my finance on a card because I need a car. It's like, no, pay for it in cash only. If you cannot afford to pay for it in cash, that means you cannot afford the car. Leave the car alone.
So how do you develop like a healthy attitude towards money? Because I feel like right now I've got quite an unhealthy attitude towards
Okay.
money. Obviously I've got like some debt, not as much as like 25k, but
Okay.
still a considerable amount where I should be a little bit worried, especially if I want to like buy a house or like do all that other stuff.
Yeah.
So how do I get to a place where I'm like good at managing money and I've got quite a good relationship with money and I know when to limit myself and when to stop spending and all that jazz?
Yeah. I think.
How do I become you, basically?
Well, I'm not perfect. I still go over. I just want to put that out there. I still go over. There's certain things you can do to like force yourself to be good with money. So one thing that I done was one of the debts was my overdraft. And so once I paid the overdraft, I went into my online banking and put the overdraft down. It was £600 and I put the overdraft down to £50. I have told myself, I made a promise to myself, if I love myself, I will stick to the promise that I will not go over £50 because I know I can pay £50 back quite easily. So that's fine. So if I go in my overdraft, caveat, I'm in it right now. This month has been a hard month. But if I go into that, £50, I know it's all right. It's not £600, which is a lot of money for me, and I'll be able to pay that off. So maybe put in some red lines for yourself. Give yourself a budget every month if you can. And if you can, what helps me is I withdraw that money every month and I put it in my purse. And so things I want to spend, like do my eyebrows or go out with the girls, that is the money I have in there. I'm very strict with myself though. I only give myself £50 a week. That's £200 a month. That's not a lot of money. I give that to myself. Someone said it to me, like, and I think maybe I need to think about it. I think it was my husband. He was like, be honest with yourself about how much you do spend. Like maybe put that £200 up to £300. Because if you're finding that you're using that £200 and then maybe going into a bit of savings or going into that overdraft a little bit, maybe actually you need to give yourself a bit more money. So I think I need to have a word with myself about that and maybe give myself a bit more of allowance. I would rather give myself more and then put back into my savings what I don't spend, or just spend it and be content with that and know that that's mine. But also, I don't want to be giving myself too much money a month because it's just vanity. I don't really need. There's some things a month that I need, but other things is like, I want, and it's a nice to have kind of thing. If you have a trusted someone in your life, maybe you might want to ask them to look at you obviously really have to trust them, but ask them to look after your money. So my mum, for me, she's very good with money, and she's really trustworthy. And so I gave her the deposit for the mortgage that we were saving because I was scared that I was going to dip into that every now and then. And so even when I would ask her about the money, she'd be like, what money? I don't know what you're talking about. And just completely change the subject. Because what she's trying to say is, that money is not yours yet, and I'll give it to you once the solicitors ask for it. So, and there's, they can be quite strict with you on that. And yeah, so that might be able to help you with your relationship with money. But also have a goal of where you want your money to be going to. If there's something that you want in your life, and maybe have that visually up on your wall and talk about vision boards. It is the way forward. Have it visually up, maybe with the money next to it, to say this is how close I am to getting it and getting there. That might be able to help you as well. But remember, you are in such a good position in terms of being able to have money. There's people that are homeless. There's people that are just begging for any kind of job, but you have that. And so be grateful for your money and be grateful for what you are receiving, and understand that it is yours. And yes, you're allowed to treat yourself, but when does a treat start to become more of an addiction? And actually, if you feel like you're spending a lot of money, maybe there's something in your life that you're not quite you're trying to use money to kind of hide it, maybe. I don't know, that can go quite deep. But think about spending can also be some form of addiction. Is there something that you're maybe not dealing with in your life, and you're just using money to kind of hide that? Food is one for me that I know that when I'm really stressed out, I will spend my money on food because I'm an emotional eater. So it's your bank
is.
account.
That's something I've
Yeah.
like consciously made an effort to do this year. I have not bought lunch.
Good.
Because usually, you know, I buy lunch. No, I'm not looking at you. But so we had a discussion around it. We're like, we're not gonna like buy stuff out and all. We're gonna cook at home.
Yeah.
I've tried to stick to it. I think there was one day I was not feeling well and I was like, I'm not cooking. But I've forced myself to cook at home.
Because we're all on that, between the three of us, we're all on that 2020 challenge.
Yeah.
To save money.
Yeah.
So,
there is a really great challenge that I don't mind sharing with you guys. It's how you can save. I can't remember how much it is in the end, but each week for the whole year,
that's
you
the
put
one.
aside like a certain amount of money or whatever, and that can help with some savings as well.
I've seen that. I think there's different amounts. But
Different
Yeah.
amounts, yeah, you choose
yeah.
it. £1 is better than no pound.
Yeah.
Like, and if I could give any advice around that, it's like, don't be worried if you can't save hundreds a month. Like £1, 50p is better than
It all
having
adds
nothing at all.
Yeah.
Honestly, it all adds up. Also, on some banks, I don't know, you have a look and see if your bank does this. Lloyds does this. So in my current account, if a purchase comes to £6.55, it rounds it up to the next 10, and then it will save that 45p into an online saving.
Oh,
Yeah, I've got about 200 and something pounds in my online saver.
based on like rounding up. Wow.
Oh,
okay.
wow.
Your direct debits that come out, things you pay for here and there, the Oyster, whatever, it rounds it up to the next 10 and then puts that into a saving for you.
Because we don't often notice the pennies, do we?
No, but that's again a nice little buffer. If you think, oh, let me just do it myself, you've got a little online saving there. That's
I'll have to check that
Yeah,
out.
I've heard Monzo does that as well, actually.
Yes,
So,
I think Monzo does do that.
that's
Yeah,
really
yeah, it's really good.
Well, Vanessa, I think what you and your husband have managed to achieve is absolutely
Yeah.
amazing.
Oh, thank you.
Like, honestly, well done for doing that.
Thank you.
When I saw your post on Instagram, I was like, what?
Yeah, I don't think anyone was expecting.
Yeah, I think in 12 months it's definitely yeah.
So for me, I feel like the only thing I definitely want to clear is my student loan.
Okay.
So I feel obviously we've all each got our own things that we're working towards, and obviously the people that will be watching will too as well. But I feel, what are the words of encouragement? Because no matter how little your debt is or how big it is, I feel people just need that encouragement. People obviously need to come to the terms with the fact that, like you said, don't blame yourself.
No.
Accept it.
Yeah.
As long as you're making the steps, the actions to clearing it. What kind of words of encouragement can you give people to be like, you can do this?
Absolutely. So I think, first of all, have that honest conversation with yourself. Look on your bank statements, see how much you do owe, see how much comes out a month, see how much interest. Yeah.
Because it's scary when you say, yeah.
Sometimes I avoid going into my online banking because I'm just, I know it's not good. But just take a deep breath, look at your statements, look at your online banking, write it all down, how much you owe, how much you pay a month. Just talk to yourself, forgive yourself, have a cry, whatever it is you feel like you need to do, and then say, right, make a plan about how you are going to tackle this. Look at Dave Ramsey, listen to what he says, listen to what Rachel Cruz says about paying off debt, write it down, do something that's really realistic for you as well. Make your budget plan every month. That includes, this is the debt and how much you'll be paying into that. As soon as you get paid, make sure you pay that day. Don't leave it for a few weeks. Make sure you pay it off and give yourself like a little pat on the back reward. Allow yourself like something to look forward to as well. So maybe a milestone each debt that comes by, or every £1,000 that you're able to pay off. Maybe you'll go and buy yourself a hot chocolate, or maybe you'll allow, some time to read a book, or just something that you would find fun that's not going to be expensive, or maybe it's just completely free, and give yourself like that praise as well. You're not just doing this for you, but you're doing it for the next generation that might come after you as well. You don't want to, God forbid, die tomorrow and someone is left paying your debt. I don't know if it will get cleared. I don't know what the situation is. But you want those that you leave behind to, you know, not feel any stress or any burden from that at all. So remember, you are setting yourself up for your children and your children's children as well. And just know that you can do it. Honestly, you can do it. It will take some time, it will take some dedication. Share it with those that are close to you. Get them to support you and help you. Get them to ask you, how are things going? And if there's things that they can do to help, like maybe not going to the most fanciest of restaurants, or meal prepping together, maybe in the WhatsApp groups, everyone meal prepping together. No one's going out for lunch tomorrow, no? Oh, okay, good. You have your support network. That's one thing that I wish I had. Like, I have Jem, he's my best friend, and so I was able to talk to him. If I was on my own, I think maybe I would struggle a little bit more. So I would say if you're able to get at least one other person that, even if they're not on the same journey as you, but they can almost hold you accountable, that would be good as well, and someone just to share that. But you can do it, and it's really important that you do it. You will feel so much better about yourself and about money and how you view money as well. I think your earlier question about like your relationship with money, I didn't realise how my relationship with money would change until I've gone through this process, and I'm now at the other end. I'm nowhere near perfect. There's a lot more I could be doing, but I see things differently.
I just have one final question.
Yeah.
What was the first thing you did when you were debt?
Celebration time.
I remember Jermaine called me. It was my one of my debts was the biggest one, the final one, and he put the money into my account, and then he called me 5 minutes later. He was like, "We paid it off," and I was like, "Yes, we paid it off and debt free."
That feeling of money matching.
And it felt so real. Yeah. We're debt free, and then we were like, let's go. So our favourite dessert place is Creams. And our favourite cuisine is either Turkish or it's Caribbean. So we were like, let's go Turkish, and then we're going to go to Creams.
Why not splash out?
Yes, splash out, right out there. And so that for us, we were always like, we're not allowed to go to Creams until we pay off this debt. I mean, we didn't go to Creams for a year. Even on my birthday, he bought me a little cake from Marks Spencer for my birthday. So that's like, that for us was the treat. But again, it was like, now it's time to save for the mortgage, and the mortgage was the whole reason why we done all this. So we were like, let's not even like waste any time. Let's just get straight into it and start saving for this mortgage. Caveat: Jermaine and I are on very good wages. Even without the debt, we were on really good wages, but. So we are able to put down a lot more money, but there was a significant amount more now that goes down because of that. That's gone. A significant amount, and literally, so we paid off the debt in June last year. By December, we had the deposit for the mortgage.
Wow.
By December.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah,
that's a real testimony.
That's £13,000 that we saved in 6 months.
Wow.
Which is a significant investment.
Yeah.
13,000.
That's amazing.
And even now we're just putting down. Things will look different with the mortgage, and maybe I could do a part 2. Saving whilst having a mortgage. I'm like, I'm in debt and I don't know how to get out of debt. But that's going to be a whole different ball game that we're going to be contending with, and I wonder what that looks like. So that's what we done. We had a little celebration, and then it was just straight into, let's just try and get this mortgage ASAP. And we're halfway.
Oh wow. Amazing.
Wow. I'm just like, what? I want to be like you when I grow up.
You are like me now, because you're human.
It's because obviously I know you, and when I saw that post, I was like, what? Somebody I know actually did it. Sometimes you see like posts online, you're like, these people are not real.
And it seems more achievable. It seems more real.
And
like you said, having like friends together who can who can hold you accountable. And since we're all on this 2020 challenge of trying to save and clear others, I think
Yeah. Work together. And then when you do it, I mean, even people watching this, they're going to be like, oh my gosh, and it will just start to really filter out to other people.
Yeah, because I think a lot of people don't really talk about finances. It's like a taboo. It's just don't talk
Yeah.
about it.
It's a dirty subject.
Yeah.
Even between husbands and
Yeah.
wives, they don't talk about it.
Yeah.
Like Jermaine's friends questioned him about putting £500 into my account and whether he trusted that I was going to put that into the debt, which is madness.
Yeah.
For me to be like, why would he question that? Why? I'm his wife. Why would? But actually, money is a really big topic for people. But we need to get more comfortable about it. And sharing these experiences and sharing the things that didn't quite go right and then what we've done to rectify it.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And on that note, thank you, Vanessa, for sharing.
Yes.
Thank you.
And being part of our motivation towards
Yeah,
striving
yeah.
to be more, in a better place
Financially free.
Financial freedom. Yeah.
Financial freedom.
Maybe that's what I'll call this.
Yeah, financial freedom.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Vanessa.
Thank you.